Ford Motor Company announced plans to eliminate 4,000 jobs across its European operations, citing unprecedented competitive, regulatory, and economic headwinds.
The company described the job cuts as part of a restructuring strategy to create a more cost-competitive structure.
Sean Diddy Combs is facing accusations of sexually assaulting a 39-year-old man during a 2022 house party held at Combs' large, glamorous home in New York City, according to a lawsuit filed this week.
The anonymous plaintiff, who now resides in Georgia, claims he attended the party with friends and consumed alcohol provided by others at the event.
4 students from the University of Rochester have been arrested, and another is under investigation in connection with anti-Semitic wanted posters found on campus.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not
Oh,
be
the boobity
interpreted
bobs
as
and the
statements
bum bum
of fact.
boobities.
Independent fact-checking and
Bum
correction
bum
is
bum
not
bum.
encouraged.
The bums with the bum bitty bum. I no bum bitty dip. All right. Dip bop. Close that window over there. Close this window over here. There and over. Whatever. I don't know.
Damn good coffee and hot.
I don't. Where is my coffee? I lost it.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Full is your mind's best friend.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with a Dog. You make me laugh.
That makes anybody laugh. No, there's the coffee. Damn good coffee and hot. Oh, yeah, I'm Tim Pool, except I have glasses on. Tim Pool doesn't wear glasses. So I'm not doing it very good. And he doesn't have a mustache. He needs to get a mustache. Good morning, folks. It is Friday. Yay, Friday. Is it going to loop?
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking.
We need to, this is why, let me just tell you the date first. It is Friday, November 22nd, 2024, otherwise known as Lee Harvey Oswald Day in America. But this is why today is a moment to stay, because we are, it's our final day on StreamYard, and the loop button will not be a problem ever again. But in honor of the great holiday today, it is a national holiday day. It is Lee Harvey Oswald Day.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, some 38 minutes ago. Vice President Lyndon Johnson has left the hospital in Dallas, but we do not know to where he has proceeded. Presumably, he will be taking the oath of office shortly and become the 36th President of the United States.
There you go. So that happened 61 years ago today. Oh, we got a little volume going on over there with the extra headphones. Let me turn that down so it doesn't become a distraction. One of my very first memories, it's not a clear memory. Obviously, none of my memories are clear at this point. Everything's a little foggy. Things are just a little bit blurry. But it's one of my first memories, and obviously it wasn't live. It wasn't covered live everywhere. It was a news bulletin that came across, and all my biggest memory of it is my mother and the next door, the lady who lived next door, just getting hysterical and crying and screaming and like looking at the television in disbelief. And I was like, that's my first memory in life, my first almost clear memory in life. So 61 years ago, it's when you have memories that are 61 years old, it's time to lay down and have people throw dirt on top of you. And that's where I'm at today. If you live in the Northeast, winter is here, or it will be here. It's on its way. We're having a winter storm in the Northeast starting today into tomorrow. And it's going to ruin my, it's all about me. It's going to ruin my gigs this weekend. So, and that's the depressing news. If you live under a rock and not following the political news, Matt Gaetz has withdrawn from consideration for the AG, and Pam Bondi has been nominated by Trump, selected by Trump to be appointed. Now, Pam Bondi, if you don't know, she Matt Gaetz, by the way, had to resign because more stories were coming out about, not stories, evidence, and people talking about some of his misdeeds or crimes. Pam Bondi, when she was Attorney General of Florida, she asked for and got a $25,000 bribe from Donald Trump to drop his fraud case in the Trump University case, and she did. She, right after she got the $25,000 from him, she dropped the case. That case was moved to New York, where he was convicted. Trump University was convicted of fraud and had to shut down. So this is gonna, it's just one. We're living in a country that is run like The Sopranos, like a bad version of the mafia, like a gang that couldn't shoot straight version of the mafia. That's what we live in right now. So get ready for it. The chaos is just ensuing. If you're a disbeliever in, people are just overreacting, we got to wait and see what happens. You know what? 1933 in Germany. Yeah, well, let's wait and see what happens. No, we know what's going to happen. And it's just so frustrating to see people. I got a guy who I've known for probably 50 years on my Facebook page last night. I said, Matt, you just got to stop, man. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. We're already seeing what's happening. The chaos, he loves this chaos. And the chaos is causing, if you don't know, if you're not paying attention, mortgage rates are going through the roof already in response to the bond market, which kind of regulates mortgage rates, and they're going through the roof already. So you had the choice. You had a nice lady who was going to give you $25,000 to buy your first home, or now you can't buy a home at all. That's what we're already there. So stop telling me, Tim Boy, we have to just wait and see. We have to just wait and see. Yeah, I'm just. So, but it's Friday. We made it through another week, and we're saying goodbye to StreamYard. So let's have a big bye StreamYard party. Bon voyage, StreamYard. We will be on. It doesn't affect you, the viewers and listeners, except that it's going to be a bumpy ride with sound effects and all that kind of stuff. Ron's going to be a little upset because I was working with the sound effects thing over there on the new platform, and it's not as straightforward as here. We'll probably work out a workaround. The old workaround. Anyway, we do have a author we're about to meet in a few minutes, Doug Lawrence, who's from Canadiadia, Canadiadia, that the country all up there, that country up there, where the winter storm I'm having is probably nothing to him. But we'll meet him in a few minutes. First, though, we have to take care of some business. Opus Clip. Go sign up for Opus Clip, man. And you need some video editing. You need AI stuff going on. You're trying to market. You're trying to get a social media presence. You're trying to be like Matt Napo and post 1,000 reels a day for 3 clicks each. I'm lying. Uh-oh. I don't know if you can hear that. You probably can't hear that, but that's my booking agent calling to say, this winter storm is going to screw up our gigs this weekend. Yeah, thank you very much. Hang up. I'm doing a radio show. You know this. Every day you wait until I do the show to call. I know you can hear me. What was it? Oh, Opus clips. Just get yourself some Opus clips. Take care of your reels, your shorts. Get your shorts on fire. Put them up on YouTube. Watch your numbers grow, your social media presence grow, and then what do you do with it? You can sell them stuff. You can sell them a banana on the wall for $6.2 million that you plan on eating. We'll talk about that after this. Opus clip. What? I say what? What the hell is this text? These are trouble. Oh, is that a voicemail I'm getting? What? Good morning, folks. In the room with me now are Ron. I took a bribe to forget about Trump University. Kane, Stephen. I took a bribe to forget about Trump University. Ortiz and Pops Fenderson, my best friend of the last 27 seconds. Good morning, gentlemen. I'm Tim Pool, by the way, if we haven't met. I'm subbing for Matt.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com. Are you a sex offender, a rapist, a crooked lawyer, or have no discernible talent? Positions are available in the Trump-Musk administration. Send your resumes to 1100 South Ocean Boulevard, Palm Beach, Florida, 33480. Attention, Vice President Musk.
Well, 1100 South Ocean Boulevard. Wasn't that Eric Clapton album?
I don't know the answer to that question.
Right.
However, MindDogTV.com. Support your local mercenaries and enjoy the suffering.
All right. Yeah.
Finish inside me. At the finish inside me.
Poor Ron is going to be so on the new platform. They assign the sound effects under your profile, and they put them in queue. It's not like you can choose one. They put them in order for you, and so you can only play the first one. If you play them all, it'll play the whole. It's not friendly. We got to figure out a workaround, but that's for Monday, and the audience will pay the price for it, right? Do you know about the banana on the wall thing?
It's so fucking stupid.
What the banana on the wall?
No. Artists can do anything they want, but anyone that would pay that much money for something that is supposed to be art, they're fucking stupid.
Was it supposed to be art? I thought it was like a political thing. I couldn't figure out what the hell it was supposed to be.
I think my understanding is that it's supposed to be considered art, taping the banana to the wall, and I think somebody paid like $6 million for it or something. Or they paid
$6.2 million, and he said,
"Okay, well, once you get above 6 million, the 0.2 is just what probably fees, services like Ticketmaster or something, Artmaster."
Well, okay, that's fair. That's $200,000. You're just pissing away there. Look at you, Pop. You're big. You're division. Yeah,
believe me, if I could piss $200,000, I'd be in the bathroom a lot more often.
Call me pisser.
But he said he's going to eat the banana. That's it's in the news this morning. He says he plans on eating it. Like that's I
don't get art.
It's going to be a $6.2 million shit. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's what he should shit on the floor in a museum. And then sell that.
And put duct tape over it and then sell it. It's not art until you put duct tape over it. No.
Yeah. I don't know, man. This
I
is
can't argue with it.
a crazy world we live in. I don't know. So yeah. And the Pam Bondi stuff. I was sure he was going to select Diddy as his next next choice.
I honestly thought he was going to go Todd Blanche, because I thought that was the second choice anyway to be the
I
deputy.
thought Blanche passed away with the other Golden Girls.
No, Todd Blanche.
Oh, my bad. Sorry, I got excited.
He was going for low-hanging bananas.
My algorithm has been showing me some of these great videos from streetcar racing. I've seen 2 people get smacked in the head recently.
So not only did I reset my algorithm, but I also turned off this. I turned the sensitive content filter from low to off, and I turned off one other filter. Oh, fucking what? I get banned.
Oh my
all the
fucking
time.
god!
Yeah, really? What happened there?
I get banned from shit for stupid shit all the time. And there's videos of people getting their heads blown off, cut in half, pulled into machinery, attacked by animals, stabbing.
I don't think
it's all
see,
okay.
this is you guys just you're very messed up people. I don't see any of this stuff. They don't show me kink and gore, and they show me. You know what they show me? Reruns of Donna Reed. You guys don't even know who Donna Reed was. They show me Leave It to Beaver. That's what they show me. And,
Did they show you Donna Reed's Beaver?
No, I do. I actually see reruns of Bewitched. That's what they. I don't know. That's what the algorithm highlights.
Material. That's she's hot then.
Okay, I would have chosen I Dream of Jeannie, but you do your witchcraft.
Don't make me go on the Peter Bale's I Dream of Jeannie.
No, you don't have to
all over again.
You don't have to.
Steven doesn't even know who she was, and that's just a sin. I don't know. I'm not necessarily like all morally judgmental.
Who is?
Barbara Eden.
Barbara Eden.
They have a new commercial. They have
From
a
I
new
Dream of
commercial. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I've seen. I know the show.
You didn't know last time we talked about her. You had to look it up and say, "Oh,
I know the show,
she's pretty. Oh, she's pretty."
Yeah.
They have a commercial. Probably, I think it's for a shampoo or something in the shower. But the person that they have dressing as a genie is Sydney Sweeney. I really think they're going to try to reboot the I Dream of Jeannie and try to put her in there.
Didn't they already do? Oh no, that was Bewitched. That was Nicole Kidman, right?
Right, that was Nicole Kidman and Bewitched. I think they were probably going to try to reboot I Dream of Jeannie.
Wasn't that with Will Ferrell?
I wouldn't be surprised.
He played
just because they've done one remake or one reboot, that doesn't mean they're not going to do another. Because they just have no ideas. They have no fresh ideas.
No, but I mean, it's okay if you want to put Sydney Sweeney in it. I am good with that.
I'm here for that.
And that's why your algorithm is all messed up.
Oh my fucking god.
Dude, I will say the coolest video that did come across my Instagram reels after I did the reset was somebody had put a bong in their fake leg, and they got to the concert and they just dumped water in it and took the shoe off and had a little bowl in the foot, and he was just hitting his fake leg. I was like, oh my god, where's all this been my whole life? I was both excited and scared on reels last night. It was pretty cool.
Are you guys you following your weather reports? Are you guys getting this winter storm this weekend? It's starting. I think it already started.
I think it went to the western portion of Maryland and it's headed your way. I mean, we got flurries. We got snow flurries today, and it's like 30 something degrees out, 36, 34 degrees outside, maybe 36.
That's why Tim Pool's here.
We had flurries when I got up, and then it's supposed to turn to rain possibly, but nothing
We had
too crazy.
snow. We had snow Wednesday and yesterday. And it melted by last night, and now it's 36 degrees again and cloudy. So.
It's too early for this stuff. We're not supposed to get this until like second week of December or something.
Well, last night I checked in on the football game that was happening, and that was great because they were playing in the snow last night, and it was It was pounding. It was a great game because you didn't know what was going to happen. They could
was that
barely
Browns
see.
and Steelers?
Yeah, yeah.
That was a good game. That was a good game.
It's so weird that, I'm sure this has been covered a billion times, but the difference between baseball, it starts to drizzle out, a little bit of water. It's 80 degrees and a little bit of water. Got to call the game. Football, you could have an earthquake, you could have a blizzard. Nothing stops the game.
That's the difference between men and boys, right there. Get all up on each other, muddy, wet, dirty. Nothing gets me going on a Friday night in a high school like watching a bunch of boys tackle each other over some balls.
Finish inside me.
Before we get to our guests, I just Ron would probably be the only one who is up on this, and even that's questionable. Steve Hostetler, Hostetler, or whatever his name, the comedian, the redhead comedian.
Comic, yeah.
Are you aware of what happened with him? He was being heckled by a MAGA guy, and he buried the guy, but then the guy got violent and attacked him on stage.
No way.
No, I didn't hear that.
Yeah. We will look into it a little deeper as the day goes on. I'm sure the news will come out. Luke Beasley was talking about it this morning. I was like, wow. And not just like Ariel Elias, when she got a beer bottle thrown at her head that broke right on the brick wall by a MAGA guy who was she said some joke about Trump and he didn't like it and he threw a beer at her. I think this escalated far beyond that. I think it was an attack. I don't have obviously, I'm just talking out my ass here. I don't have all the details.
That's the smell. I was like, okay.
Yeah. Wow. All the way in Maryland, too. That's good. I'm proud of myself now.
It went downstream.
No, it's because of the nor'easter or something. Doug Lawrence is here. This is yet another author supplied to us by Mickey. Mickey, when he heard I was going to have a rough week with no guests, automatically got me like 90 guests for this week. But now we're booked up for the next 3 months with authors, which is not a bad thing. But Doug Lawrence, you're in my spot, you spot stealer. Doug Lawrence is an international certified mentor, and he holds 2 mentor certifications, and certificate of competence mentor and certificate of competence journey mentor from the international mentoring community. I feel all mentored out. And he's an author of a book called "You Are Not Alone." Well, he's got several books out, obviously, but the one that's out now is called "You Are Not Alone." He's here now. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning.
How are things up in Canada?
I have a shipment of snow heading your way.
Now, my snow would be nothing to you, right? Because you're like you're manly men up there. You're lumberjacks. You don't have a problem with the snow.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but we're getting more than our fair share, and more coming this weekend. So the old shovel and the snowblower has to get going.
Oh, I wish, you know what? Every year I say I'm going to get a snowblower, and I never get one. And
now, I'm curious. I am curious because you just said you're getting more than your fair share. What is a fair share of snow? I'm just, I just want to know because I don't know. I want to know if I'm being cheated. If you're like getting some of the snow that I deserve.
Yeah.
Well, you're not being cheated, but fair share would be how I would define that would be when I'm tired of shoveling, I've had my fair share.
We are looking at your book called "You Are Not Alone," and I have to tell you, I disagree. I think I'm alone, even though I have these guys with me, and you're here now. Once the show is over, I will be all alone and just on an island, a man on an island by myself, waiting for my time to end. What is the main point of this book that I'm not alone? Because I feel alone.
Well, the main thing is the main point of the book is You Are Not Alone is based on the idea that you may be struggling with mental health issues and so on, and you always have a mentor that could reach out and help go walk with you on your healing journey.
At any age?
Yes.
Because I feel like, yes is you came. That was a quick yes. That you were
committed to that, yes, because I feel like it's pointless at this point. I do have lots of mental illness and lots of struggles that I go with, but I feel like, you know what, time is so limited. Why would anybody waste any time trying to get me right when by the time that I got right, I'd be gone?
But just think, if you're able to help somebody else in their journey, you know, it's kind of like you give a little, you get a little.
Yeah, I think I've, to be fair, I mean, I feel it sounds like I'm patting myself on the back here. I think I have helped lots of people along the way, but at this point, I don't feel like I have any more to give. I know, I'm crying here. You hear me whining and crying like a pathetic little loser, but this is what I've given up. I'm surrendering. See, you can't understand this because you're in Canada, that country up there. But yeah, but if you were here in this country, you would feel like giving up too, I think.
I think that it depends upon what you want to make of it, you know, because you can sort of say, okay, I'm done. I've given all I'm going to give, and so it's time for me to move on to something else. Or you can say that I want to be able to make a difference, which, you know, in your case, you are through your show and that you're doing, but can you do more?
Could you lie to me and tell me that this is making a difference in some way? Could you? Well,
Doug,
some people have lied to me like that, and it makes me feel good for like 20 minutes.
Now, Doug, I have a question real quick. You mentioned in reference to the book that you're not alone refers to the fact that I guess there's someone, the mentor. If you have a mentor with you, they're with you and they'll help you. Is that the meaning behind a person having two shadows, but only one sun?
Yes. Well, and it's because you have choices that you need to make or that you can make, right? And you can choose to go on the dark path, or you can choose to go on the path where there's light, and your mentor is going to walk with you and support whatever decision it is that you do make.
Yeah. I'm curious about the was it ready, but we're going here anyways. We're talking about mentorship now, not necessarily the book, but the certification of mentorship. Because here, I don't know, it's not different than Canada. I'm going to say that, but I have like when I was starting my business, mentors. They weren't certified mentors, and I never heard of a organization that's certified mentors. Is it a government thing? Is it or is it private? What's the idea? And how do you know that somebody is really qualified to be a mentor? Even somebody may be very successful, but they might not be very good at imparting information or being a counselor or any of this stuff. How do we determine who has certification for mentorship work?
So the certification has gone through a couple different stages, and I've actually been instrumental in launching a certification for mentors. That's where this whole story started, and it first started out me working with an organization in the United States to create a certification for mentoring, which, as you had said, doesn't or didn't exist. And so we created one based on knowledge. And then fast forward 5-6 years, the mentoring community said, we want something more than just a knowledge-based certification. We want a competence-based one. So I found a business partner here in Canada to be able to try and...
I feel like I heard that name of that country before somewhere, but
yeah. So we've created a certification now that is based on competence. And so to answer your question about, you know, how do you determine if somebody's good at doing what they're doing, there's a fairly rigorous process. In fact, next week I go through a recertification where I have to go through a case study and present before a verification panel and all those things.
That's cool.
So you're so you have to go through this whole thing, even though you were part of creating the whole thing?
Yes.
That's fantastic. See, that's accountability.
Yeah. Is it limited to like expertise and niche kind of? Because here, when I went through that, it was business mentorship. It was just about having somebody who was, BA or whatever, and they basically walked me through the steps of establishing a business. It was business mentorship. Is there a difference between what you do, like life, because you talked about mental health? I'm thinking it's more like life circumstances and things like that, and navigating life hacks. Is it defined by like niche mentorship, business, fitness, diet, whatever?
No, it's and that's a myth that is out there, is that to work in a specific industry that you have to have industry specific experience, and that's hogwash. That's not the way it works, because if I look at the clientele that I work with, there's people in the health sector, there's people in manufacturing, there's law enforcement, there's you name it, and I've probably done some work with somebody in that particular.
Okay, that challenge accepted. You said you name it, and I probably worked with them. Comedians?
No.
Aha! I won the challenge. What do I win?
I was thinking with do you mentor, let's say, president-elects from, let's say, a country at your southern border?
I think I put my hands up and sort of,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that Canada is now saying they're going to build a wall and make us pay for it.
Yeah. So, but anybody in the creative, the performing arts, like musician, yes?
Yes.
Because when it comes to that, there's a lot. I think just to become a performing artist in any way, I think you have to have a little bit of mental illness. It's like a prerequisite. Trauma. That's why a lot of people feel the need to be on stage and performing, is to kind of, it's like a therapy, right? So.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about how that would work? A mentorship program from somebody who's not a performing artist. You are an artist, a creative artist, and a writer. But how would that work? What would it look like? A phone call, a weekly phone call? Is it a lay on the couch shrink session? What does mentorship look like?
Some people would like to think so, but mentorship. Like right now, I'm working with, I think I have 27 people that I'm actually mentoring in a number of different genres and that. And most of the interaction is virtual, and it's usually an hour and a half conversation. And that's basically what it is it's a conversation where I ask questions to get them to start to critically think their way through things. I want them to come up with, the path that they're going to take, and I'll support them. But I don't want to be the one to say, well, you should do it this way or you should do it that way, because then I've assumed accountability for the outcome.
Are you a good bullshit detector?
I'm not bad.
Cause my thing with this is, and I know I'm guilty of this, and when I feel like I'm ready to get counseling, whether it is mentorship in like business stuff, whether it was psychiatric therapy, all this kind of stuff, there is a tendency to not be your true self. You keep guarded, and sometimes you could bullshit the therapist, bullshit your mentor, and all that kind of stuff. A big part of any kind of working with people is cutting through the bullshit, because as humans, we put on a false face too much. Howard Stern talks about, just wanting to please and make up stories to entertain his therapist. I can relate to that. Do you get a lot of that, especially in the beginning? Does it start that way, like a defensiveness that comes up, even though I know I need a mentor, I signed up for mentorship? A
large part of it is, can I develop or build trust enough that the person will feel comfortable to be able to open up and share? And that's the big thing. It's a trusted relationship, and if you have that trust in place, then both of you, the mentor and the mentee, are going to your journey together is going to be very rewarding.
Yeah. Now, does the relationship have a lifespan? I mean, how long do you keep following up with people long after I don't know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Because in the business stuff, I'll tell you, work 6 weeks. I've never heard from those people again,
Yeah.
and that was years ago. Is that what it's like? It's like we talk for 6 weeks or 6 months, whatever it is, and then you're out of my life. I don't keep track.
Yeah, no, with me, it's not that way. And that's what I tell everybody right up front is that, we're going to spend some time together and, maybe we'll work together for 6 months and then we'll take a step back and say, how's this working for each of us? But I actually have mentoring relationships that are years in duration, especially when it comes to doing leadership mentoring. I worked with a group of leaders in an organization, and we were together for probably 7 years.
So I'm assuming that you have to be an optimist to even get into this because I'm like the most pessimistic. Well, I think I'm probably the most pessimistic. We haven't had a contest on it yet, but I think I'm probably up there with the most pessimistic people. And I don't feel like people will talk about you sometimes you don't recognize the positive change you made in the world. But I look at this world and it just keeps getting darker and more dreary every day. And I'm thinking, what difference does it make if I made somebody smile or gave them a half an hour to feel good tomorrow, or even after I leave, I leave their bedside, they are back in suffering and just dismay. And it's like, what good? You have to be have to have a strong vein of optimism in you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
How did you develop that? Were you born that way?
I think I had to, in order to keep doing this, I had to look for something that I could latch onto to say that's the thank you that I'm looking for, or that's the recognition that I'm looking for, or whatever. But I had to find that little something. And for me, what it is, it's a couple things. The first is people keep coming back to work with me. That's one. And the second is every so often, little things happen that you go, yeah, that made it all worthwhile. Like one of the people I was mentoring, I got invited to their wedding, and at the wedding, at the reception, they said, we could not imagine having our wedding without you here.
Yeah, I can relate to that because last month, and it seems like when I think about it now, it seems corny and silly to even bring up. But I was at a bedside at the VA, and a guy who was 98 years old, he hadn't spoken, he hadn't smiled, and I went and I played him some music. His wife was there, and at the end of it, he was smiling. He was actually trying to clap. And his wife said, you see that smile on his face? You did that. And she was like in my face saying, you did that. And that moment, that day, I was thinking to myself, that's why I do this. That's what makes it all worthwhile. But it's fleeting. It goes away pretty quick. And obviously it's still here on some level, but I can't sustain that. And that's where, I'm pretty quick to just backpedal into darkness and all that kind of stuff. Maybe I'm just a case for a real psychiatrist at this point.
Doug, my question is the person that you helped who got married and invited you to their wedding, what did you get them for a gift?
Themselves.
I mean, because obviously you helped them, but they paid for the help. So what was the gift? Did you bring
actually? Well, no gift that I recall. And a lot of the work that I do is pro bono. I just want to be able to help somebody get on the right path. And, I had worked more so with the lady versus the man, but I was able to help her move forward career-wise and on a personal level and all that sort of stuff. So that was sort of the thank you back to me. But yeah, there was no exchange of money or anything like that. And
he's just a dirty capitalist, and he thinks about it. He assumes people are dirty capitalists like him.
First of all,
he pisses away. I don't know if you caught the beginning, but he pisses away $200,000 like it's nothing. Like it's nothing.
First of all, if I were a real capitalist, I wouldn't be a comedian because being a comedian is the antithesis of being a capitalist.
Fair point. Fair point.
Now your pro bono work. Now I'm going to be getting to the. If this is none of my business, just say so. And then I'll just find a different way to pry and ask it.
None of your business.
Go for it.
Okay, but if you were doing work pro bono, how do you keep the lights on? You know.
I have a blend of some is pro bono and some is paid.
Okay.
Right.
So they were pro bono.
Were you an author before the mentoring? Because the books that I'm seeing are both on Amazon now, where the link is here, and the link is in the description, are both mentoring geared books, Gift of Mentoring and You Are Not Alone. Were you an author before the mentoring stuff, and were you writing about different things?
No, it's been mentoring. My very first book, The Gift of Mentoring, is what jump-started me to write about mentoring. And I have another book that we're in the editing stage of it, and it's going to take a slightly different shift where it's going to introduce the concept of a grief mentor. So somebody that can work with people who are struggling with grief and help them work through their healing journey together. And I lost my wife to cancer in 2021, so I've actually had experience in that particular situation. So,
wow. So where do these books fall in genres? If we were going to go into an old brick and mortar bookstore, they would be in the self-help section, or because it's not really self-help; it's helping others. They don't have a section for other help or helping others. It's all self-help. Just because it's important for for on demand, when I post a lot of these clips, what to categorize them as for YouTube. I guess it's going to fall into the self-help category, I guess. So now, can you share what got you started in it? Because I'm just assuming. I hate to be like GD here, being all assumptive, but you weren't, as a young man growing up and saying, "When I grow up, I want to be a mentor." Right? What got you into? What started this journey for you?
It was actually, I was job coaching university students, and the relationship morphed itself from one of helping them get a job to, oh, gee, Doug, this happened in the workforce. How do I deal with it? Or how do I go about, basically, how do I go about dealing with it? And you need to do this for a living. We can't afford to pay you, but I'm sure somebody could. So, I kept getting referral after referral, and what it basically meant was I did some market research, and I saw there was a place for mentor certification and mentoring in general, which there wasn't. And so that started me on the journey of what I had said to myself was that at the end of the day, I wanted to have an independent body for mentor certification. I didn't want it to be, you went to your popcorn box and opened it up and out came a certificate and you went, oh, look at me, I'm a certified mentor. And I didn't want that. I wanted that there had to be some structure and rigor around it. And that was the start.
That's kind of very cool in my estimation, because I think, because I've asked this question, I've talked about it before, that when we are young people, one of the first serious questions we are ever get, what do you want to be when you grow up? And so the idea of working with job or career counseling with young people and figuring out what they want to do, because so much of our identity is about what we do. It's our career. And so to understand that, do you still work a lot with young people?
I do. Yes, I do. And part of my experience, my lived experience, comes from a 25-year career in the Royal Canadian Mounted Police.
Oh yeah. That's an interesting. Now the the Mounties, are they on horseback or they drive cars? Now they're not Dudley Do right? You don't call them Mounties, but they're not mounted.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Now, my question about, because I read that in your bio, in the description, and so I immediately wanted to know how accurate Dudley Do Right was, because that was the only reference to Mounties when I was a kid.
Yeah,
if
you live in the States.
Do they have talking horses? But actually, horse didn't talk. But were you always wrestling damsels from Snap? And why couldn't you ever catch Snidely Whiplash? I mean, why was he so elusive?
Yeah, if we could take just kind of a tangent here on what the Royal Mounted Police does. I mean, are they like highway, like the state troopers? I mean, what exactly is the role of the Mounties?
Well, you have to take a look at where they provide their service. So, they in some of the, like, Eastern Canada, they would perform work in more along the lines of federal statutes and that. And then you move further to the prairies where I live, and it's about providing policing to the rural communities and some of the urban centers as well. But a large part of it is the rural communities, and that's what attracted me to. Was they used to come out to our farm and come for a cup of coffee and sometimes stay for dinner and all that sort of stuff. But that was how I got to, that's where I went, oh, I really think this could be a good job. I should apply. And long story short, I applied.
Coffee, but no donuts?
No.
So they're not real cops.
You go through a time period where then you get introduced to the donuts.
Do they go after people based on like looks or economic status, or do they just go based off of what laws?
Canada, they all look the same in Canada.
Well, that's racist in and of itself, but we'll address that later.
All right.
Sorry, what was your question again?
I'm sorry.
Are cops up there racially
profiled? He wants to know if the Canadian Mountie is racially profiled, like it's required by law.
That's what he was saying. Yeah, he just doesn't know.
Oh, there's a black guy, eh?
I certainly hope not.
You don't have black guys up there, do you?
Yeah.
There's 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll take them back.
That's not true. They gave us Drake.
That's true.
You said black guys. Stop it. Stop.
My bad. Sorry.
I said black eyes. Black eyes. So they have black eyes up there.
Yeah. Now, according to the documentary, Dudley Do Right, there's only one Mountie per. Well, there's two mounted police per fort. There's like a commander and like one foot soldier. Is that is that per capita, or is that just like in his case there's like one per capita, so there are only 1,000 people in this area, or do you have more than that depending on the size of the area that they have to cover?
More depending on the size. I was stationed in a couple places where I was there by myself.
If we I think we've covered enough of the Mountie stuff. Can we get back to the mentoring stuff, TD?
Oh.
Can I have your permission to do that?
I have one more question.
All right, if you have to, but I have so many questions about my childhood based on that documentary.
I can't believe you remember that. All I remember is Dudley and Nell. I kind of have some kind of. Dudley had some kind of thing with the horse.
You remember Inspector Fenwick, and Nell's last name is Fenwick, and Snidely Whiplash and Horse.
Now, are you talking about
Whiplash? Rings a bell. Yeah.
Are you talking about the original or the remake movie with Brendan Fraser?
No, the original. I'm talking about the documentary, not the spin-off.
My mind is blown. They did a remake of Dudley.
Yeah, I remember. I remember as a kid seeing it in the drive-in and being like, "Whoa, Mounties are so cool!"
Wow, I am mind blown. Mind blown.
No.
Please stay tuned for our next segment. Taking an Epsom salt bath. One boomer.
No, in our next segment, we actually have Mel Blanc, who was the voice of Bugs Bunny, who's going to come on and give us a
He
review.
was the voice of 400 characters.
Yeah,
Actually.
we're going to have a Looney Tunes review.
Yeah, you talk about saving money. You have one guy doing almost all of the voices for your cartoon. That saves some money.
Yeah, well, they had to have multi-tracking, I guess.
Well, during that time too, probably Mel was a huge racist, and they're like, "You fit this job. Give us some Asian. Come on."
Wow. Okay.
Well,
Bring it back in. Reel it back in. I
Guys,
want
this is
to.
supposed to be the show that we send to Houston. Calm down.
Yeah.
That's not that bad. That's asking a
No,
valid
Houston wants that show. Yes. I'm
he
not
loved
sure
the
what Ron was going to
Krauts.
say.
That's what we're saying. He loved the Krauts. That's what he's.
With working, coming back to what we were talking about, mentoring youth and career-wise, I felt like, because I've had some experience talking to young people about what they want to do with their lives, and I felt like somewhere around, I want to say the mid-90s, there started to be this, I have no idea what I want to do with my life among you. Because when old man, in my day, we always had, at least if it wasn't realistic, we had something. I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a policeman, whatever it was. But that seemed to get lost with the young people. Do you feel like there is a disconnect? The people that you talk to, and I'm assuming they're not just like children, but young adults, do they have an idea of how they are going to fit into society and what they're going to add to the world, or are they just kind of lost and drifting like Forrest Gump, like a leaf on the breeze, and hoping it finds something?
A lot of drift.
Yeah, a lot of. Why do you think that is? Do you have any theories on what happened to us as people?
I think it's just that life in general has become very scary for no matter how you look at it, and the younger that you are, us old guys with snow on the roof and that, or however you want to describe it, we've tried different things and got the battle scars to prove that that worked, or no, it didn't work. And the younger generation isn't quite ready to take that leap of faith to be able to say, well, I'm going to go down this path and try this. I was actually working with somebody here this past week where they were trying to make a decision. Should I quit the job that I have now and go on to something else? And we had to have a conversation about what would that look like and all of that. But they're not as, how would I word that? They're not as loyal to one employer, so to speak. Okay, so I'm a police officer and I'm going to do that for 35 years. Nowadays, that's not always the case.
It's almost never the case, right? And it seemed like at some point we did embrace the idea of varied experiences, more marketable, more I don't know, it's more valuable to an employer to have somebody who is not just a one-trick pony, but has a world of experience. I think that started to be the case. Yeah. I'm just wondering, do you think patience, because I had a conversation with my stepson when he was about 32 years old, and he was feeling lost and like he hadn't found his purpose in life yet. And I was like, well, that's not necessarily new. I think a lot of people, we've always, in this song Sunscreen, it says most 40-year-olds I talk to haven't found out what they really want to do with their life yet. But I think a lot of young people don't have the patience. They find, I get to 30 years old and I feel like I have no purpose. My life isn't really meaningful. And they're still, well, I must give up because I'm definitely an adult at 30 years old, and it hasn't occurred to me what the hell I'm here for, what I'm supposed to be doing. I might as well just give up. Do you experience a lot of that kind of feeling lost without purpose?
The big thing is the whole story around purpose, and a lot of people they don't have a sense of purpose and what we try to do, or what I try to do with them, is when you roll out of bed in the morning and you put both feet on the floor, what is the first thought that comes to your mind about what you're going to do today?
Wow.
And my first thought is, I wish I could put my feet on the floor. Sorry,
no,
go on.
I'm one of the things I'm thinking is that part of the problem that the youth have is that, one, the music that they listen to, and I'm saying that because I'm saying that not to be an old man, but because,
no, you are an old man. That's why I laugh.
Like what immediately?
When we were growing up, there was something that there was some guy, I can't remember. He was semi-popular, a guy named Bob Dylan. You may have heard of him, and I think he had a song where he goes, "You're going to have to serve somebody," and then he goes through this whole song, and he tells you basically, no matter what you do, what you think you want to do, you're going to have to serve somebody. Okay, and people have gotten away from the fact and said, "Wait a minute, you mean no matter what I do?" It's like, no, because I want to be free and independent to not serve anybody. It's like, no, you're going to have to serve somebody, and so they've gotten away from that philosophy. And the other thing is, I think people when they're growing up do not learn how to make decisions. They learn how to.
Every time I think he's just a complete idiot, he comes out with some gems of wisdom there.
For the most part, people, they don't make decisions, they find defaults. In other words, options fall away because they haven't made a decision and they're left with this choice, as opposed to actively learning how to make a decision to decide to go that way. And I think that's the other issue that people have today. They don't know how to make a decision. They just wait for options to fall off until they're pigeonholed, and that's where they're going.
Yeah, I did a whole show when I was back doing the business edition with some CEOs on the how you make good decisions, because everything in life is a product of the decisions we make, but we aren't taught how to make good decisions. When there's no course in school that's a decision-making 101, like how you actually go about making good decisions and all that stuff. You know, it's so as an older guy, you're not a kid. Do you have issues with relating to young, because you talked earlier about building trust? I find like some, and Stephen could probably attest to this, young people and I are like oil and water. It's really difficult for me to understand the world that they came up in, and I'm sure it's very difficult for them to understand my world from the 1800s, and bridging that gap so that we get on a place where we can communicate on a level playing field is a very difficult thing. Do you find that, or how do you work around?
Well, the main thing for me when I'm working with youth is to, number one, respect where they are and where they've come from already. And then together we talk about what are some of the options that they have before them that they can take a look at. And I use what I call the Socratic method, which is about asking a series of questions to guide somebody to different answers. And to do that without telling, because if I start to tell a young person what to do, that's going to right away the hackles go up on the back of their neck, and they don't want to have anything to do with you whatsoever.
Yeah, I think that holds true for old people too. Nobody likes to be told what to do. Yeah. So yeah, no. All the kinds of things that you work with, is it all trauma based or not at this point? Like
it's a mixture, and what I've actually done is I'm shifting the focus of mentoring to be part of the mental health support structure. So dealing with mental health and grief and all of that, because there's a gap today in the world for addressing those situations, and I want to close that gap as much as I can.
Yeah, grief is a tricky thing, because I think we feel like we should, and I know there's a lot of books out there and a lot of people talking about stages of grief and how you're supposed to grieve and all that stuff. But I think the perception is at some point we're supposed to be able to close the door and finalize grief, like it's going to go away. I think for me at least, we carry that baggage with us. It becomes
less heavy in some cases, but it's not something that I think we should expect to just be able to drop and go through it like, oh yeah, I grieve for 5 weeks and now I'm done with it. What's your perspective on
Yeah, that's a myth that you actually can. It's grief is not a start date and an end date. It's a continuum. And like I know, I was talking with a gentleman down in the U.S. that he had lost. I think it was his son, and that was 12 years ago, and he's still grieving today. So it's something that doesn't always just go away. It's always there, and we need to be able to know what are the coping skills that we're going to have to be able to get us from today through tomorrow through the next day.
Yeah, it's a thing that, you know, and I think this is where calendars become the devil.
Yeah.
Calendars, we tend to take those events in our lives, mark them on the calendar, and then every year when they come around, it's like a trigger to go back in and re-experience the grief. And then I don't know how we get away from that, because we mark our lives by the calendar. Every day I talk about the date just to timestamp this, so we know if I go back 5 years from now, I know exactly what day this show was. But we live our lives by the calendar. But I do feel like at some point that becomes a really negative anchor for us, a something to bring us back into, especially if it was like today is November 22nd. In this country, it was a very traumatic experience 61 years ago today, and there's no way around that. So the calendar comes out. Let's all re-experience the crap we went through on this day. It's a really, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like how you release?
He doesn't care. It wasn't his president. No, I'm just saying. It wasn't his. But it was my president. I don't care. No, I'm just saying.
No, I hear you. But releasing ourselves from the commitment to re-experience the grief on that day. Like we mark it down so we can experience, or we don't even have to mark it down. We just make a mental note of it. And then every time it comes around, this happened because I lost a son too. And on February 7th, every year, it is just, I builds up like a week before. I know that date is coming, and I know people are going to be, oh, how are you doing today? You know, well, it's like, I know they're wishing me well and trying to coach me through the day, but it also is a reminder of, yeah, we're well aware that you went through shit on this day, and how you feeling about it? You remember it? What do you
There's only 365 days a year, and there's like 8 billion people, so every day is somebody's day of shit. So, you know, I just say, hey, I'm not the only one, and I keep going.
Is that your thought on it?
I was just going to add that you said you lost your son on the 7th of February.
Yeah.
I lost my wife, Deborah, on the 6th of February.
Wow. Yeah, mine was actually the 6th, late at night into the 7th. So it was very early hours of the February 7th in the morning. Yeah, wow. Grief is something, it just keeps coming back. I mean, on that date, no matter how you try to say it's just another day.
And I think it's okay to honor, I guess, for lack of a better choice of words, it's to honor them on those dates, because their memory will never go away, and we don't want it to. But you know, it's okay to, you know, to honor them and be able, because eventually it does diminish. It'll never completely go away, but it does get smaller and smaller as time goes on.
Yeah. Are you a person of faith, like the spiritual?
I'm spiritual, but I'm not religious.
So I'm just curious, do you feel like there's a reward? Because I don't know, reward, that's probably, but sometimes I feel like you get kicked no matter what, because I spend 50 years now volunteering, trying to help people out, trying to do the right thing, trying to leave the world a little bit better than when I got here, and I don't feel like I've made a dent in that. But I feel like every time I do try to make a contribution to society, I end up paying a price for it. It's like, no good deed goes unpunished. It's that kind of thing. Do you believe in rewards or punishment or any of that kind of stuff?
I would say rewards, yes, but punishment, no. And the rewards would be you've done something good and you're being rewarded for doing so. And it can be sort of self-induced. It's something that you yourself have said, that was really a good thing. I'm glad I did that. Or it can be somebody else saying, what you did was a great thing, thank you for doing that.
Yeah, I have to admit, I get a lot of those because it's like virtue signaling, I guess, because I talk a lot about the work I do, especially when it's moving stories. People I go to visit in nursing homes, rehabilitation facilities, the VAs and all this stuff, they all have really interesting stories. And then I share those stories and people, oh, it's such a good thing you're doing. And I get a lot of those. And for a moment, it feels good. And it's like, I hope you don't think I'm doing that just to get that attaboys, because that's it's a very weird. And then I experience guilt because if I feel like, do you think I'm just like out there asking for confirmation that what I'm doing is the right thing? It's a very weird thing I set myself up for mentally. Obviously, I'm not a very mentally sound person, but all this stuff we're coming back to mental health. And I'm not sure how I even define. I can define mental illness in some way, like being broken, and I think we all have scars and damage that we've done to ourselves. But I can't understand, and this 7 years I've been asking this question, how we know when we've achieved some level of mental health. Do you have any insight on how we actually even define mental health? Again, lack of is pretty obvious. When you're not mentally healthy, that's a very obvious thing. But how do you know when you are?
Yeah, and that's, I guess I look at it from having been in the police force and witnessing different traumatic events, and then as a result of that, ending up with post-traumatic stress, and then having to figure out how I'm going to cope with that and to be able to move forward so that it doesn't consume me and I'm able to manage it more so than anything else. So, because I tell the story of being in a small community and going through having to investigate death by suicide of a young lad that I was very close with, and how I ended up having to transport his body to the closest morgue in the middle of the winter, 40 below, and it's an 8-hour drive by vehicle to get to, and how that played on my mind. And then when I did get returned back to where I was living, my first inclination, my coping mechanism was to go to my liquor cabinet, haul out a bottle of Scotch whiskey, throw the cap away, and figuring that drinking that whole bottle was going to be the answer.
Yeah, I can relate to that very much so. And this is, I guess, a good place to kind of wrap this conversation up. Is the idea of understanding that everybody goes through some stuff, but people, especially people in those positions. I worked in pathology, and I could never understand how the doctors I worked with could take a baby out of a bag and flap it down on the table, and we're going to cut this thing up like it's an inanimate object. It's like, how do you detach yourself from the emotional trauma that you're going through in this moment? How do you build up those defense mechanisms where you can just look at this as a thing rather than a human being? But although cops and people, military people, firemen, people who serve the community, serve people. They see so much of this stuff, and we take that pain on and we internalize it, and then we try to deal with it in various different ways, escape from it. And I think the biggest part of that is recognizing in humanity that when you see somebody you think is an asshole or a dick, realize that they've gone through some shit. They're holding some baggage, and that's the biggest part of making the world a little bit more compassionate, more kind, and understanding place.
I have to push back a little bit on that, man, because I don't think that everybody who does pathology or whatever looks at the dead baby as if it's a thing. Some of them are more respectful. It seems like, I mean, I've worked with people who were embalmers and undertakers and stuff like that, and to them it's more like a respectful thing. It's not like this is a slab. To them it's like this is a person, and the people who are left behind are grieving, and they're trying to make a connection. They don't look at it as an inanimate object. They actually were kind of very mindful of what they're doing. So I think it's a case by case.
Well, in my case, it wasn't a case. We can discuss this further after we say goodbye, Doug. But in my case, it was not. I actually interviewed every doctor and talked about this. How every doctor I worked with, and there were 78 doctors in the pathology department at that time. We talked about it and how they disassociate the human person from the body left behind, and virtually it was unanimous. But we can talk about that.
Virtually unanimous isn't unanimous either. So.
Yeah. Doug, I think you've shone a little bit of light on the planet here by your presence today. I hope some people get the message. And mentoring definitely it can be a give back to society, and I thank you for doing that, and I hope people will check your books out. All I have is the Amazon your author page where there's a couple of books listed. If there's someplace else I should be sending them, please let me know. Mickey didn't give me any other specific links to point to. I appreciate you being here. Thank you, and have a great day. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Bye for now. Wow, Doug Lawrence. Yeah, I'm kind of choked up on this. I'm sorry. I'm going to take the book out. Wait, let's see this and this. How about that? Is that okay? Is that the right setup? Yeah. Let me take the book out. What do you think about mentoring? You guys, I mean, even in what you do, because I was thinking like in comedy, like Ron's kind of a mentor to Josh Dwayne, no?
I have always wanted a mentor in comedy. Never found somebody who was willing to do that.
Well, because of you. Nobody really wants to work with you. I was talking about the decent people on the panel.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
I've mentored a few comedians to the point where, matter of fact, it's my job. My purpose was to work with them until they no longer needed to work with me.
Hold on,
then they move on to something else or something better. So,
where did you get that banana from?
I had it in my pants. Is that a banana in your pocket? You just
you were just happy to see us, but that makes more sense.
I'm sorry. Yeah, no. Yeah, I think mentoring is a different. That's why that trust issue, and because you really I think you got to know the person before you ask them to be a mentor. In the business thing, they just assign you a mentor. It's like, yeah, I don't want to take advice from somebody I don't know, and then I got to really kind of establish who the fuck they are and what their authority is to be even advising me on this kind of stuff. And I don't know if advising is probably consulting, whatever.
Well, I think with me and Josh, it's more of a dual mentoring, because there's a little bit on my end and there's a little bit on his end.
Awesome.
Isn't he much younger than you? I mean, I thought he was like in 20.
Yes,
he's 12.
Yeah, he is younger, but it's like we have a lot of the same sensibilities when it comes to comedy and things like that. And for his age, he actually knows a lot about the business and has been around a lot of the industry people and things like that.
Yeah, I do feel like it's a very noble thing to try to give, and sometimes it's based on your stroking your own ego. Is like I'm gonna help somebody out, but for the most part, it does come from the right place where I'm gonna make a positive mark. If I at least if I can make a big mark on this world and change the world in a better way on my own, maybe I can help a younger person do it. I think it almost always feels like it has to be like an age thing, like the older, wiser person mentoring a younger person. I guess it could be the other way around. You could take mentorship from a younger person.
Well, in my mind, if it's a successful mentorship, then it does work. There is an exchange of energy, so it does work both ways. If it's a successful one, the mentor should be learning something from the mentee or the mentor.
Yeah, I think really to be a good mentor, you have to be open up to accept criticism and be able to take the advice of the person you're mentoring as well.
Yeah,
I mean,
I get that, and I definitely get that there's a lot that the younger generation can teach old people. Definitely. And there are lessons to be learned there. I just don't think when it comes to it feels like it should be a more structured. I don't know, structured is the right
well,
word.
like I mean, I would love in my area if I actually had like another comic that would kind of share my same sensibilities and drive that's around my age. That would be nice.
So basically, somebody with an algorithm that shows kink and murder.
Yeah, exactly.
And gore.
Damn,
and,
only if I lived a little closer. My algorithm's a mess right now.
No, nobody likes it. No.
I know it's fine. I'm used to it.
I'm curious now, GD. You said you work with morticians and funeral director. I don't know if that's what you said. What did you say?
Undertakers, funeral directors, embalmers. The people in the funeral industry.
You have.
Yeah.
They're not creeps.
Not really.
Wow.
No more so than others. I mean, there's creeps in every industry. For me to say it's creep free, that would be
when I was in pathology, I knew probably 300 or more people who ran funeral homes, undertakers, morticians, deaners. Deaners are the guy who cuts up the body and does
sells the parts.
Yeah.
And for $20, you can have some time.
Every one of them I met was extremely gorish, creepy. Kurt, the guy who I almost, the roof guy. Let's go up to the roof, Kurt. We used to take young girls and sleep with them or have sex with them in the mortician drawers, in the body holding drawers. They were all. Every single one of them I met, and I'm not being a bigot about this mortician bigot. Everybody I ever met in the dead body industry was a total creepo.
Well, like in the definitely late 70s, but early 80s comedies, morticians were always used as a plot device or someone having sex in the morgue and in the refrigerator. There's so many movies from the early 80s that reference necrophilia.
Even Men in Black had a morgue scene where Will Smith was like the whole time like, this chick's trying to get it on in here. Like this Queen of the Damned type deal.
But that was his perception, because that wasn't what she was trying to do. She was trying to let him know that there was something afoot. There was danger.
She wanted to keep Will Smith's dick in her mouth, is what she did.
Then
you keep Will Smith's dick out of your mouth. I'm sorry. There's a lot of most jokes are based in truth, and I think there's a reason that they put necrophiliacs and morticians are kind of linked together in comedy.
Well, I'm not saying that there aren't. I'm just saying that sometimes what happens is one or two stories become like the icon for everything, or the
Oh, that,
the
no doubt
example.
about it. Kurt, being the creepiest necrophiliac mortician, has left a stain on my mind that is much bigger than the whole group of like 300 plus forensic people and morticians, and but because he was by far the creepiest. So when I think of those people, he comes to mind first because he was just like, just really, he would fuck a dead woman in a heartbeat. Just a very weird dude.
He wouldn't have a heartbeat.
In his heartbeat.
Oh, okay. That's pretty quick because that's only like what, one beat per what? It's like 60 beats a minute. There, that's pretty fast. He's pretty quick.
It depends. You can get a heartbeat up to like 120.
Yeah.
My wife is the exact opposite. She practically, her heart is like just doing a slow walk all the time.
Well, there's a whole thing about Baroque music being the best for meditation and stuff because it is meant to match the human heartbeat at rest, and most Baroque music is done at like 60 beats per minute. So, and there's a whole, spiritual nonsense about what's the best music to get in touch with God? Baroque, man.
And then the drop happens. Drop that beat.
Yeah. How do I get that banner out? I want to get the banner out. Go Doug's Amazon page and check out the mentoring books. And the certification of being a mentor, I don't know. Again, in the States, I think we are, I don't know, more regulated than that, and we are definitely more niche, like business mentor, a sports mentor, whatever. It's more compartmentalized than just like life mentorship. Let's talk about you and who you are and what you're bringing to the world, all that stuff. I want to look up this Steve Hostetler. Is that how you say Hostetler?
Hostetler. Yeah. Hostetler,
yeah. I did a search on it. I didn't really see anything, but I didn't go to his
Yeah, let me look up comedian attacked by MAGA guy. Maybe that'll come up. I have it in my YouTube thing as a saved thing, but I haven't reviewed it, and I don't know how much I could play without getting like a copyright strike.
Yeah, I had something. I tried not to put it up there because it was a song parody, and I didn't want to take the chance of getting the strike or getting the show because it was a
Is
song
it your song parody or somebody else's?
It's my song parody, but it's not my music because I parody somebody else's song.
That's not gonna. Yeah, but so
it depends because, like I say, it's iffy because on YouTube sometimes I get warnings that I have to fight for, and also
yeah, but that won't get you a copyright strike. There's a difference between they'll just pull it down or they won't monetize that section and you can edit it out. Than a strike. A strike. So for something like that, parodies, and you never get a strike for it. They'll give you this warning and say you can't monetize it or any of that kind of stuff. But so if it's yours, I think you're safe on playing that, and I will make that call. If it gets me banned, it gets me banned. But I don't think so. If you want to play it, but MAGA heckler, is that what I put in here? MAGA heckler. This Steve Hofstetler, he does like, I don't know. There's a lot of comedians who don't like him because they say he's predatory. Like he sells, comedy courses and all that kind of stuff, and does he profits off of people who want to be comedians. Like heckler freaks out and tries to fight a comedian. There's a bunch of them now. MAGA heckler gets violent after comedian. Oh, this is Luke Beasley's thing. Yeah. Maybe I should. I don't know. I'm not going to watch it right now. But so, yeah, but the idea of hecklers getting violent is a whole. I don't know how new it is because I'm thinking of Lenny Clark, who actually talked about his story when he actually fought a heckler during his act. He kept doing his act. He had a microphone in one hand, but he was a pretty bad guy, Lenny Clark, and he was fighting the guy with one hand while still telling jokes. It's got to.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to get more of this in the next coming 4 years.
I don't see how you can't, because people are not going to stop making jokes about politics or people in current events and stuff like that. And people are more easily triggered right now and really willing to like be demonstrative about it.
Well,
So,
let's be clear. A lot of white people are triggered right now because I see it. I live in an area where there are, a decent amount of Trumpers, and usually the guys that get offended who are like, "Oh, free speech, blah blah blah," those are the biggest pussies out there. Their backs are so soft. You start telling jokes, and they just sit there like a little kid and cry almost while their wife is laughing because she's just happy to be out of the house, so she doesn't have to think about killing her husband again in the middle of the night. I mean, lady, all you have to do is take the pillow that's next to you, hold it down slightly, and the Lord will deliver you the reward that you want. But that's just my opinion.
Greg, you said that last line.
Be the change you want to be.
All right. I don't know the congresswoman's name, but she came out, a black lady, and she was saying white people, there was never any such thing as white oppression. You guys are talking to the MAGA white coalition there, saying you're trying to sell this idea of white oppression. There has never been white oppression. And because white people came here on their own voluntarily, and she was talking about all this stuff, and there's no way you can really understand white oppression. And I agree with her on the terms of race being the reason people were oppressed. I think a lot of dumb white people, uneducated white people, have been oppressed, but not because of race, but because of socioeconomic status.
Yeah, it's financial status or social status.
So, but they are not bright enough to do cause and effect, or not educated enough to see the cause and effect and understand that it's socioeconomic status. And they see that, well, black people are getting these affirmative action. Why is there no white people affirmative action? Because theirs is based on race, but understanding they were discriminated against. That's why they had to have like something to equal out the playing field. But they're not bright enough to kind of tie those causation.
Some of it is, I don't know if it's bright enough as much as it is
educated.
Not wanting to see, because the very people that are oppressing them are the very people that they want to be like. They want to be that rich person. And so for them to say that that's what I want to be like, but they're oppressing me, it's like, that's what I want to be like, but something else is stopping me from being like that.
Yeah. But I think it helps to understand, because she was saying it like white people can't be oppressed, and it's like, and they have never been oppressed. And I want to push back a little. They have been oppressed, but not because of racial reasons. But that's the key distinction there. You have to make that distinction. I understand you, because if I'm complaining about something or highlighting something I'm going through, and you say you don't feel like, you can't possibly feel that. That just makes me you're my enemy now. You're not understanding my feelings, other than and saying I can't possibly be feeling that. Now, the reason I'm feeling that might be totally confused in my mind, and I might be completely wrong about what it is that is making me feel that way. But to negate that I feel that is, we can't ever move forward on it. So she has to realize white people have felt oppression, but not because of racial reasons. And that's
well, with the exception, but again, this is like a nuanced thing. Like the Italians were oppressed, but they weren't considered white at the time that they were oppressed.
Right.
Once they received their white cards, they could stop being oppressed. I think the same with the Irish. When they came here, they were oppressed, but once they got their white cards, they were no longer oppressed.
Yeah.
So.
Scott, who is a European Jew, in the conversation we had the other day, he said, I don't identify as white, but I'm identified as white by society. That's it. But a lot of people don't identify Jews as white. They're of a whole other, it's we get too nuanced in this stuff. But to her point, I think she made some very good points about them trying to make it seem like, the poor white guy, you can't be a white man in America. Like, come on, dude. You still have every advantage you ever had. It's just they're trying to give the advantages or give those advantages to people who never had them. That doesn't mean they're taking away what you've had.
Chris Rock had like a very wonderful take on that in his bit about a white guy not wanting to switch places with him, and he's rich, because so I don't want to try to do Chris Rock's routine. First of all, I won't do it justice, and second of all, I can't remember it. I just remember the gist of it.
But
he's coming for you.
Is that Chris Rock?
Yeah, that was Chris. Actually, that was Chris. Chris, the one with the high voice, Chris Tucker. That was Chris Tucker.
Well,
are you a retard?
We've established that. We don't have to keep asking the same questions again. I just want to say, keep Will Smith's dick out of your mouth. Yeah, you guys got anything? Because I'm out of things to talk about today. We're only an hour and a half in, and I'm already shot.
Can I
share my ass cancer?
Can I share my Matt Gates parody that I worked on yesterday?
Yes, you can.
Okay. Here we go.
Hit the road, Matt, and don't you cash out and move. Hit the road, Matt, don't you cash out and move.
How'd you say?
Hit the road, Matt, and don't you cash out and move. Hit the road, Matt,
wow.
Don't you cash out and move. Young woman's no woman if she's in her teens. You're the sweetest young woman using acne cream. Well, I guess you're not too old. You better pack your books and that's right. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. How would you say? Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. Now maybe, just maybe she's too young to play with the grown-ass man 3 times her age. You don't scout our neighborhoods. Now we're splitting just like we thought he would. Well, I guess you're not too old. You better pack your books and that's right. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. How would you say? Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. Hit the road, Matt.
Hit the road,
Don't
man.
you cash out and move.
Hit the road, man.
I didn't ID you. Now maybe, just maybe she's too young to play with a grown-ass man 3 times her age. You don't scout our neighborhoods. Now we're flipping just like we thought he would. Well, I guess you're not too old. You better pack your books. That's right. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. How would you say? Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. No snitching, please. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. She looked 18. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. Hit the road, Matt. Don't you cash out and move. That was her ecstasy.
No, it wasn't ecstasy.
I can't do time.
File that under. Somebody's got way too much time on their fucking hands. But I appreciate it. No, it's very good. But
it was awesome.
Next week it'll be outdated, right? I mean, so you put very good, but you put a lot of work into that for something that has a shelf life of 37 seconds.
I did it for me.
You did it for you. No, you didn't. If you did it for you, you wouldn't be playing it here right now. Stop
Did
lying.
you do that all yesterday afternoon or evening?
I worked on it. Yeah, yesterday. Now, to be honest, the music is karaoke music.
Right.
Yeah, it's karaoke music.
Did you do the Ray Charles? I don't know, bouncing head, whatever the fuck that is, graphic.
Yeah.
Is that something you created?
No, I have a Ray Charles doll.
That's what I thought. Maybe.
And I just green screened them.
All right, that makes sense.
It's really weird to think about that. You have a shelf where there's like dildo, blow up doll, Ray Charles.
They're on different shelves. They're on different shelves.
Where is the billboard that says Matt Gaetz wants to date your child?
It was in Florida, and they put that up when he was running for Congress, I believe. I could be wrong, but
all right. I know we suck at predictions around here, but the Matt Gaetz thing is curious now because he resigned from Congress, right? But he did not resign from the next session, which he's won that seat for. So he could come back in January on January 3rd and get sworn in again, right? Or because I heard different legal scholars talking about this, and some
I think
of them
he's got to be nominated.
No, he won the election.
He won his seat. He won re-election in his district.
Well, I know he did, but I think doesn't he still need to be like nominated again?
No,
he has to be sworn in again.
He needs to be sworn in on January 10th. Yeah,
I think he should man up. I mean, I know he won't, but I mean, if you resign, to me, you're done.
Well, here's the thing, because Congress has been protecting him with this. We can't pursue this because he's not a member of the House anymore. So if he goes back in, does that put him back in jeopardy of being prosecuted for this whole thing? It's really kind of strange waters. It's like untested waters, untried waters that we've never seen anything like this before, where a guy has resigned his seat, could take it back a month later. And if he does, that puts him in jeopardy of being back in the investigation stuff. A lot of people just like Lindsey Graham. We should just drop it now. Fuck you. No.
Well, technically, Congress has done this twice, at least in our lifetimes, when a sitting congressman resigned and they kept the investigation going.
No, yeah, that part, that's not untested. The part that's untested is taking it back, and do they resume not just the investigation, but a prosecution of the guy.
No, I was just referring to Lindsey Graham's and the others that say just drop it. He's out of office.
Yeah, that's
no.
That's been bullshit. Debunked a couple of times over. But every legal scholar has pointed out that's a false narrative, that you can't release reports or prosecute somebody just because they left the house. That's
right.
That was just bullshit. But I'd be curious to see if they follow up on this. Or when Ron says he should man up, I think he should have. Listen, if I put myself in his shoes, I would be moving to Pango or something, Pago, whatever. I would just try to disappear myself if I were him. That's what I would do. But he's not going to do that.
I would go into acting. I think he could play like a younger Jack Nicholson.
Butthead?
No. He could do Butthead also, yeah. Or was that Beavis? Whichever one that has a big forehead.
Butthead, yeah. No, he definitely would do that. I don't know. It's curious, but the one thing that we still haven't, because I on Facebook yesterday, I pointed out that you can't distance yourself from this. If you're a MAGA person, this is what you wanted. You wanted sex offenders. Pete Hesketh, that police report was leaked, and this guy raped a woman. I mean, there's no doubt he raped a woman. There's a police report. She did a rape kit. She did the whole thing. He raped a woman. If you voted for Donald Trump, you voted for, you're pro-rape. There's no fucking two ways about it. And all the people in associate, the RFQ's accuser is coming out now with more information. All these guys are fucking rapers. And you can't say, I'm pro-law and order and I'm for protecting women. Get off of that. You are fucking pro-rape, and time to admit it. And this one dude I know for all these years ago, well, can't we just see what happens? You just got to calm down. Like, dude, try that. Go back to 1933 and try that in Germany.
You don't have to guess about the outcome when the track record already shows what we're in for.
Yeah, and we've already the chaos that's going on. Like, the thing I was pointing out was Matt Gaetz stepping away, taking himself out of consideration because he knows he's guilty of horrible crimes. Can't we just wait to see what happens? No, we just saw what happened. The guy nominated a fucking creepo for the most important law enforcement job in the country. That's what happened. We saw what happened. Stop with that. So basically, I told the guy, "You mother just can't get the fuck out of my life."
You gotten better because you continue that sentence at skank whore, but
no, I did. I'm just for brevity, for the sake of the program, I didn't go into all. I did tell him. I said, because he said, "Matt, you're a good guy. Why don't you just calm down and wait and see what happens?" I told him, take that good guy comment and shove it up your Nazi ass, and stuff like that. So get the fuck out.
Tell us how you really feel.
Like, why are you still on my Facebook page after the last month and a half of I've been telling all you Nazis to get the fuck out of my life? If you support Trump, we're not friends. We're not friends. There's no basis for us to have friends. I'm not fucking being friends with Nazis. And they still, can we just have a difference of opinion? No, we don't have a difference of opinion. We have a difference of what is right and what is wrong. I still think raping young girls is wrong. Obviously, you don't. That's not a difference of opinion. That's a difference of ethics and morals and what's right and what's wrong. So, yeah. So Pam Bondi. Is that a step in the right direction, or
it's a half step up?
Well, yeah, it's kind of like, well, at least she hasn't raped anybody.
I know. Can you imagine that's the highlight of your appointees? No rape with this one.
No, man.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know that she hasn't used her position of power to, when she was the attorney general.
That's fair enough.
A lesser, and men are much less inclined to come forward and say, she took advantage of me. They said, really? A woman took advantage of you? Yeah, really, she did. I didn't want to. Well, really? Were you erect? Well, yeah. Well, you wanted to. See that.
There's
imagine.
There's also a good number of guys that look at it as, I get to sleep with the boss, So
then get married. Your wife becomes your boss, and you can,
I just want to say, disregard what Stephen just said there. Please, just disregard it. There's no such thing as that.
You haven't had a hot boss then.
I have, and I have been sexually abused by 2 of them.
That's different. I'm saying there's guys that welcome it.
Yeah, but those guys are bigger than you. You really couldn't fight back.
Yeah, you think you'd welcome it until it happens. Because I've been as much of and when in my youth especially, more of a horn dog than the average horn dog, and I could understand the fantasy of that. But when it happens and it catches you off guard, you're like, "Wow, what the fuck is this? How do I react to that moment?"
I was legitimately on the receiving end of a boss who was definitely on the prowl, and it's uncomfortable. 100%.
Uncomfortable, it's putting it mildly.
Uncomfortable for who?
Exactly.
When the
people in HR that are watching,
when the lady goes, here's a laptop for training. It's my laptop, so don't break it. And you go home, open it up, and she has herself as the wallpaper, like naked. Yeah, there was a problem. It was bad.
And who is this a problem for again? I'm failing.
The HR people, because they were
trying to see the issue here.
No, I'm
part of the sensitivity training, and
my issue was much different than that. It was a woman sticking her hand down my pants. The CEO sticking a hand down my pants.
That's the type of HR department that I run. If it's not sexual harassment, it's not fun.
I mean,
we're here to have fun at work.
I didn't get a hand down the pants, but the last straw was, have a good day. You too. By the way, I spent all day wondering how you taste. And that's when I left my keys on the counter and I left and didn't go back. I was like, nope, I'm good.
All right. Wow.
What that mouth do is what I would say.
No, but I'm just thinking, like in the Pam Bondi case, imagine yourself being on a job interview,
and the HR person says, "Can you describe why you're qualified for this position?" And the answer is, "Well, at least I haven't raped anybody
that we know of."
I mean, now let's see. Now I can only see that happening. Let's say you applied for a job and you have some felonies on your record. They're like, "Whoa, it looks like you've been in some trouble." Well, at least I didn't rape anybody. You know that. That might work
there
out.
are felonies on her record. She hasn't been convicted. She should have been convicted. She should have been charged and convicted. She asked Donald Trump for a bribe. He gave her the bribe, and she dropped his case.
And not only
why?
that, when the case went through, when the case finally got to go through with the different AG, he was
convicted.
Well, it was civil, right? It was civil, so it wasn't a conviction, but he lost. He had to settle.
No, I don't think it was civil because New York State barred them from ever operating again.
I was thinking of the California case. In San Diego, in the California case, he settled out for like $25 million with the Trump University.
Oh, Trump University, right? 25. So 25,000 and 25 million. That's he paid 25,000 for the bribe to get it dropped in Florida, but still had it in California. It's just and this is where we are. We are living in, again, a gang that couldn't shoot straight, mafia mentality is running this country right now. It's a really odd thing.
To me, it's weird. I remember when I was a young man, I was friends with this guy who was for lack of a better word, let's say a spy. He was an attaché for the United States and a diplomat. Yeah, that was his official title. He was a diplomat. That's it. Officially, he was a diplomat. And he had talked to me about me signing up, joining the CIA. And I told him, I said, I couldn't join the CIA. I said, I can't be in the CIA because I have too many criminals in my family. And so I would never pass, background check. And he goes, no, those are the ones they want because they know you'll do anything. And I'm like,
let me just say, when I worked for the CIA, I've told you this. I worked for the CIA, and I'm pretty sure I had more criminal. I had a hitman for an uncle. And
I'm not gonna have a pissing contest about who had the most.
No, I'm just saying they did not do a background check. What they do on your family, they do on you whether you have a criminal record. But when you get sworn in, they don't do any of that kind of extensive. Like, were you ever related to a criminal? Because if they did, they'd find out my mother and father were taken out of the house by the FBI in handcuffs. I think that would be if they were going to do a family background check.
I think it depends on the position you're applying for. Maybe how deep they go, what you're going to be exposed to. But with what I was going for, they would have probably went to a deeper dive, some understanding. I never applied, so I don't know. I'm only going by the word of someone who worked for them.
Well, mostly, very few people really apply. You get recruited. But yeah, they don't do they don't, the sins of the father are not visited upon the son. In that case, you could be John Gotti's kid, and if you have a clean record and you pass all the tests, you're in, and you take the oath. So that idea, I could never do it because I have too many criminals in my family. No. They don't.
Well, I was told the same thing, but for a different reason than what you're saying.
Yeah,
they were saying basically that because they look for things that they don't want you to be blackmailable, so they need to know the things that things that you could be blackmailed for.
Right.
So,
and to the other point you were making, they do recruit people with criminal records in specialties. Like hackers now are a big thing in the day that safecrackers were a big thing, and people who knew how to break into security systems were a big thing. Now it's hackers, so that they do recruit criminals. I'm not sure if they recruit hitmen, but they probably do. People who have no problem killing people. Yes, there is a crossover.
Whitewashers, aren't they whitewashers? No, I'm just teasing.
White.
I think they call it whitewashing when they get rid of somebody like that.
You say white?
Yeah, whitewashing or cleanup. Maybe cleanup men.
White. I'm just going to keep saying white.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all. That's all I have for you today. That's all I got.
Cool.
I'll just sit here.
All right. So Ron, you have like did you?
No, he doesn't.
What's that? Sapphire? What's that? What's that rapper's name out of California? Sapphire. Saafir. He was also with
Saafir?
Maybe Saafir. With Tupac and he hung up with Tupac and whatever that group was. Was that the Digital Underground?
Well, that would be Digital Underground because Pac was part of Digital Underground back in the
Okay.
day.
Yeah, he died. He died of cancer.
Ass cancer? Was it ass cancer?
No. Black people don't get ass cancer.
What did they get?
Sickle cell.
Sickle cell ass cancer?
Yeah.
Now, did he ass rape this guy, a 39-year-old guy, right? That was in the news. Did he? You want to hear the news? About did he ass raping the 39-year-old guy? Wasn't that in the news in 60?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's so much stuff coming out about Diddy. I mean, what are you trying to keep track of?
He's going to be in the Trump administration for sure. If he survives, if he could just not have an Epstein moment, he could be in the administration.
Epstein moment. This is so weird. Marjorie Taylor Greene, are you aware of the stuff that she's come out with lately?
You mean chlamydia?
Yeah, she was. I assume that she was like during the whole Matt Gaetz party patrol that she was like, we should release all the ethics reports on everybody.
Right, but she was saying that to fellow Republicans who turned on Matt Gaetz like this is an infighting thing. But it indicates that she knows. This is where it gets really interesting to me. It indicates that, or at least she's suggesting that she knows about people within her own party that have worse offenses than Matt Gaetz, and she's sitting on that, holding it, which makes her an accomplice. If she knows about people who are having sex with minors and not bringing this forth, she's an accomplice, or after the fact at least.
That's right, because you can't release something that you do not have.
Wow.
She has. In other words, if she's saying let's release it, that means she has it.
Oh yeah.
You can't release something you do not have.
But yeah, again, but it's not like she would know this about Democrats. She only knows this about the people that she associates with, and no Democrats associate with her, right? So she's saying release all the Epstein tapes. Well, if they release all the Epstein tapes and all the Epstein files, that's not a good look for them, because we know that the president-elect is all over that. We know that Epstein is describing in detail about when he met Melania. He had 4 underage women on his lap, topless underage women on his lap on the Lolita Express when he met Melania, according to Jeffrey Epstein's own words on the tapes. It's not necessarily somebody who's and so keep talking like that. I would be interested to see if she just happens to disappear somehow. Well, whatever happened to Marjorie? She went to pet an alligator down in Florida. That's what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, but at the same time, when she said that, it's like, hey, you're going to throw all your colleagues under the bus. All right,
right.
Good luck.
Yeah. So again, this is the chaos and so let's see what happens. We're not even out of November, and we're seeing what happens. Generally,
well, we know what would happen. It would just cause chaos, and it would just shut the government down, because it would just be I mean, if you want to do that, and I don't know, stall everything, I guess, but then it seems very fascist as well too, because it's like, oh, look, this person did something bad, and look, this person, and when they're not, it's not apples to apples.
Yeah. But that whole idea about let's see what happens, meaning let's see how the Trump the idea behind that is the Trump administration is not going to be as bad as you're making out to be. You're having a hysterical reaction to it. Let's see what happens. And it's like, dude, it hasn't even started yet, and the chaos is off the charts. what we're seeing with this Hegseth report that's going to come out. This guy, the Secretary of Defense, is going to have a rape on a legitimate rape that he got at. I mean, it's one after another. It's just like, how much chaos can you take? And again, we're already seeing mortgage rates because the bond market does not like chaos. And the bond market is what mortgage rates are based on, and that's going through the roof. So we're already seeing the economic result of the chaos that they voted for. This is what you wanted. And it doesn't feel like a good I told you so, man. It's like we're all fucked because of you people. It's not like, oh, good for you, you're seeing what this has brought you now. It's like, no, you brought this upon all of us. We could have been having people buy houses, start businesses.
Yeah, this is just right now. This is the honeymoon period.
Exactly. That's my point. Wait till let's just see what happens. Let's what's fucking happening.
Well, when they start cutting programs for kids and like kids with autism and things like that, we'll see what happens then. I imagine there's going to be a lot of angry parents once they see like programs and stuff going away for their kids.
Yeah. You would think, but they will never. This is the problem. They will never attribute it to Donald Trump or his actions because they don't know about policy. They don't care about policy. They don't care about how chaos is affecting the thing. They just want somebody who's going to be the savior in their eyes. And again, coming back to this whole idea that Trump has positioned himself in their minds as a peace candidate, anti-war candidate, but he's surrounded himself with neocons and people who are looking to just start wars all over the fucking planet. They have no problem with that. If the candidate of peace, why is he surrounding himself with Dick Cheneys everywhere in his fucking cabinet? So there's that part of it. And then because I asked this question in all sincerity, the biggest astonishment to me, Ronald Reagan's party has become pro-Russia. I think Ronald Reagan would be fucking scratching his dementia fucking their brain over this. Like, what the fuck? How did my fucking following become a pro-Russia? And I wanted to know, is there any MAGA person out there, anybody who identifies themselves as a MAGA person who is not pro-Russia, who has is willing to recognize that Russia is on the enemy list? If they're not the number one enemy, they are on the enemy list. Is there one fucking MAGA person that can come out and say that? I don't think there is. I think they are.
This because then you can't be a MAGA person if that's what you think. Because by definition, MAGA people think this. So if one of them doesn't think that, then they're not MAGA. They're MAGA adjacent.
Exactly.
What I want to know is once the economy crashes within a year and things get bad, who are they going to blame then? Because you won't be able to blame the immigrants. So who's going to take the blame?
They'll blame Biden. They'll still blame the. It's just like when Texas had their power grid problem, and they their power grid was failing all over the place, and Ted Cruz had left Texas. They blamed the Green New Deal. Okay, Abbott was blaming AOC and the Green New Deal for the problems they were having in Texas, not the fact that they had deregulated energy so much that they didn't have to fix the energy grid like the rest of the country had to.
All right. How they will find a way to blame Biden. It's a socialist agenda that got us in this hole, and that's whatever they'll say. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna say, but they never will take responsibility for any of this stuff. But it's just because you can't get them really to come out and say yes, I'm pro-Russia. Now Georgia. Not Georgia in the United States. Georgia, the country, wants to rejoin the Soviet Union, like the new Soviet Union or whatever they're going to call it, because they don't want to end up like Ukraine. But you can't get a single MAGA person to come out and say, yes, I'm pro-Russia, but they can't criticize Russia in any way, right? Because I asked one woman who I was arguing with, John Rulo's cousin, are you on Russia's side in the Ukraine war? And she would not answer it. Like, What do you want? I mean, it's a simple yes or no. Who do you want to win that war? Do you want Ukraine or you want Russia to win that war? Can't answer it.
Well,
That's
partly
coward.
because Trump wouldn't tell them the answer. Trump kept saying, I want the war to end and I want lives to be saved. But we know what he's thinking. Russia should win because every solution he has is Russia takes the land that they've taken.
Well, his solution would be Ukraine should just join Russia, save lives, stop the fighting. That'd be his solution. Yeah.
Not join NATO is not be part of NATO is the number one thing, but that leaves Europe exposed, and it's just. But I would just love to see one of them just grow a pair of balls and answer it yes or no. Are you on Russia's side? Are you on Russia's side? MAGA people, the people, especially the YouTube nuts that are just going to leave nasty comments on this. I got to say goodbye to Govs really quick. The people who